Thank you for joining us. Again, Gerald Celente, trendsjournal.com. And you can find samples of that. You can see the covers there at trendsjournal.com, and you can see some samples of the articles, and it is very important information in terms of trends. And you can save 10% off with the code NIGHT. Thank you for joining us, Gerald. Always great to have you on.
Thank you. Yeah, the 10% off is the grand total of about $2.50 a week.
Wow.
And it's about 200 pages, and we're giving people what they're not getting in any other magazine in the world.
That's right.
And I'm not making that up. Go to YouTube, look at the comments of the people that subscribe.
It's a great resource, and it's a really nicely produced online magazine as well. Really is.
And you can listen to it as well if you don't want. You could print out the PDF, et cetera.
Mm-hmm.
I was listening to before we got cut off, and every day it's another lie coming out of Trump's mouth. And
isn't it amazing?
He gets away with this in front of everybody's eyes.
Yeah.
That he gets away with it. Heil Hitler.
It is, yeah. And if you're the guy that's in the crowd, we've all seen that picture, the circle around him, he's standing there. He's the only one that doesn't have his arm up in the air to Hitler, right? They eventually got to him as well. That's kind of what it's been in the media's space, hasn't it?
And again, it's, our economic update that went out yesterday, we go fake or real, lies or truth. And we go to yesterday's edition of CNBC and read the article. This is Monday we're talking about. Oil falls as investors assess messaging on Iran peace talks ahead of ceasefire deadline.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Trump said in an interview on Monday, you ready?
Mm-hmm.
That bombs will start exploding inside Iran if Tehran refuses to agree to the U.S. terms to permanently end the war. Asked by a reporter from PBS News about what can be expected if no deal is reached, Trump said, this is his quote, then lots of bombs start going off.
Yeah, he's got it all worked out, hasn't he? Yeah.
That was Monday.
Yeah.
And then we go on to say, this is on Tuesday.
Mm-hmm.
This is what CNBC headline published at 8:40 a.m. Eastern Time on Tuesday. Trump tells CNBC he expects U.S. to make, quote, great deal, end quote, with Iran.
Yeah, it's just all bull.
As a result of the promise of the talks, this is what we wrote, the U.S. dollar edged higher and gold prices sunk lower.
It's just amazing how he's manipulating markets, isn't it, with all these lies? How long is he going to get away with this? I mean, it's constantly he's telling everybody what they want to hear, and then he and people inside his administration are making big bucks off of this, betting on Polymarket and other places like that. Then he comes out and completely contradicts himself, and it goes in the other direction. I mean, you talk about in-your-face corruption in addition to the lies. It's just amazing.
Right in front of everybody. How about that guy, Chris Wright, in the company that he's in, that little clown boy? Yeah. That's our, was it Secretary of Energy? hey, we got naval ships that are going to bring the oil tankers through the Straits of Hormuz, all right? And boom, down goes oil prices. And then the company that he runs, there's an article in last week's Trends Journal, don't pay a penny of taxes.
Oh, yeah, sure. Yeah. Yeah, they're just manipulating the markets, and it's amazing to me. That's why I said I can't even really report this stuff because none of it is real. And he keeps telling the same lies over and over again. And so now the last one I've seen is that he's now saying, well, we've got an indefinite ceasefire. What does that mean? Is that really real? Again, we don't want to tell anybody what we're doing. We don't have a discussion. We don't have a vote, a declaration of war. Lindsey Graham says we got to have a vote if we're going to have peace. We got to be careful about that peace. That's really dangerous.
Hey, this is your article in this week's Trends Journal. Energy Secretary writes Liberty Energy paid no U.S. taxes in 2025. And they made a ton of money.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Well,
it's a crime syndicate.
Yeah.
Again, there was an Italian guy by the name of Mussolini. Yeah. The merger of state and corporate powers is fascism.
That's right. That's right.
And so don't call me an anti-Italian. I'm a Napolitano born in the Bronx. Oh, but if I'm against Israel, I'm an anti-Semite. I can't be, hey, I'm against Mussolini. Why you anti-Italian? I hate Hitler. Why you anti-German? I hate Netanyahu and the Zionist crime syndicate. Why you anti-Semite?
Yeah.
That's the crap they spew out.
That's right. Yeah, we were talking just before you came on about Palantir. They paid no taxes either. And yet they get massive amounts of government money, and they are setting up techno-fascism. He's making all of his money. He doesn't pay any taxes, and yet he's demanding that they bring back the draft. And he says, well, you shouldn't be able to have any say-so. You shouldn't have a vote unless you have done service, unless you've been drafted and fought in our wars. Yeah.
Hey, Slimeball, go over there and fight right now.
Yeah.
All right? Go over there. What's your favorite war, you little piece of crap? Go over there and fight.
Yep. Yeah.
Anybody that supports war, put on your costumes, go over there or shut your damn mouth. Go to Israel, go to Ukraine, or shut your damn mouth.
Well, Gerald, that's one of the things that Alex Karp said. He said, we can't have a situation where the elite have no skin in the game. They need to be subject to this kind of stuff as well. And it's like, yeah, when has that ever happened? And of course, he's not doing that right now. He's young enough that he could go fight. He could sign up and go fight in the wars just like Eric Trump or Trump's other kids, except for the only one that's too old to go fight is Don Trump Jr. But all the rest of them could sign up for any of the military services.
That's right. Yeah. Anybody that supports a war overseas, get the hell out of there and go fight or shut your little mouth.
That's right. Yeah, I've told the story before, but they didn't, when you look at World War II, they didn't need a draft. You had people like my dad and all of my uncles after Pearl Harbor, they signed up. They didn't need, they believed that they were defending the country, and they all signed up for the war. They didn't need to draft them. And if you've got a justified war, or people think that it's justified, and maybe you've got a false flag to make them think that, but if they think that the war is justified, they will sign up. So maybe what we ought to do is go to a situation where we don't have anything other than a volunteer army, where people sign up if they think the war is justified. How about that? That would be our referendum that we have on a war. If you think that the war is justified, you can sign up to go fight for it. Otherwise, if you don't have any soldiers, you don't have a war.
Well, look what's going on in Germany. Now they want to put back the draft.
Yeah, yeah.
You like World War I, the Germans? And I like World War II better,
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Again, it's all a bunch of crap. And again, where the hell are the religions trying to stop this? As I said, this is serious because they're not going to end this war. Israel's going to keep it going. One of the demands that Iran has made is that Israel has to stop bombing and stealing land in Lebanon. They've killed thousands of people. Over 1 million people have been thrown out of their homes.
That's right. That's right.
And so there's not going to be a peace deal. And I'm concerned they're going to go nuclear.
Yeah.
Israel, they have the Samson option. They say if they lose, they're going nuclear. There's no way that the United States and Israel are going to be able to defeat Iran.
Yeah.
Unless they go nuclear.
That's right. That's right. And when you look at this situation with the Israeli soldiers who smash up, they tear down the statue of Jesus on the cross and smash him up, right? What is significant about that is not the statue, but it's, as many people said, what about this? Look at all the residential areas that you bombed to rubble. You're not going to do anything about that. They go back out and they replace it. It's a major PR issue for them because A, it shows the hatred inside this organization. B, if they go in and they bomb a residential area, they can say, that's just the fog of war. We don't really have any control of that. Things like that happen. This was something that was right there, and you could see there wasn't any way they could explain that away, right? People could see exactly what was happening with that. And that is really the issue there in Lebanon, and it's what the Israeli government is doing. I mean, even to the extent that they're now making, just as Trump is talking about his next war with Cuba, they're talking about their next war with perhaps Turkey. Some people said, well, maybe that's why Trump is saying he's got to get out of NATO, so he doesn't have this inherent conflict if Israel and Turkey mix it up with each other. And of course, they need to for their greater Israel plan. They want all the land from the Nile to the Euphrates, and part of the Euphrates runs through Turkey. So it means they're going to have to go to war with Turkey as well. They're more than willing to do that.
Well, God gave him that land. It's in the good book, chapter 6, section 8. Don't you know that?
Section 8. Yeah, the insanity clause there. Really, for Klinger on MASH. That's really what it should be. It should be the section 8 section that they're
yeah, I mean, and again, what's going on there, how they're rigging the markets, it's just a joke. A sick joke what they're doing. And again, we're writing about this in your magazine, the Trends Journal. I said what they said at 8:40 a.m. that Trump says that I expect to be bombing because that would be a better attitude. And he said that the price that there's going to be a peace deal. Now, this is CNBC headline yesterday, 2:55 p.m. Stocks fall as oil jumps on fear Iran negotiation breaking down. CBS notes, Donald Trump on Tuesday said he thinks the U.S. is going to end up with a great deal with Iran to end the week-long war. Even as he said he does not expect to extend the ceasefire.
Yeah.
To expire on Wednesday. That's today. I'm not gonna extend it, all right?
Yeah, well, he wanted all the people in Iran to take to the streets for regime change. When they took to the streets, Gerald, it was to protect the infrastructure, the bridges and the power plants and other things like that. They used themselves voluntarily as human shields against this aggression from the United States and Israel. That's when they took to the streets.
Yep. Trump said, I think they have no choice. We've taken out their Navy. We've taken out their Air Force. We've taken out their leaders. Then he goes on, we go on to say that, then he changes it to say there's going to be a ceasefire. As we detailed by the facts, minute by minute, Trump keeps spewing out, a lot of crap. Earlier in the day, with an interview on CNBC, Trump was asked if he would extend the ceasefire deal if one didn't happen tomorrow, meaning today. He said, I don't want to do that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That's what he said.
Yeah.
Yesterday. And then what does he do a couple of hours later?
It's insane. It truly is.
He said,
I guess part of this is, what does it mean if you've taken out all of their military? What does it mean to have a ceasefire? They keep telling everybody they got nothing to shoot at us anymore. And then we get a missile barrage of, 100 missiles coming into a particular city or to Lebanon or whatever. And not Lebanon, but into Tel Aviv. What does any of that mean? As soon as these guys make this kind of announcement with all this hubris, they're immediately shown to be liars.
I know.
Yeah.
Well, we go to all the media. Mm-hmm. Like, for example, we go to subscribe to Haaretz, the Israeli newspaper. We pay to go there. We don't have to pay to go to Jerusalem Post, Times of Israel. Why not? We go there. Mm-hmm. We go to Tehran Times. We go to Press TV. We go to IRNA, ISNA. We go to Tasman. We go to the Iranian sites. We go to Arabs. We go to Al Jazeera, Arab News, etc. This is what Press TV reported yesterday. Iran armed forces don't let, you ready? Mm-hmm. Quote, lying, delusional Trump skew battlefield realities. They call him a lying, delusional Trump.
Well, they nailed it. That's exactly what he is. Yeah.
Then they go on to say about the ceasefire after he said he wasn't going to do one. There are reports that an Iranian official said that, quote, extending the ceasefire has no meaning. Mm-hmm. And Trump's ceasefire extension is an attempt to buy time for a surprise attack.
That's right. Yeah. Or to assassinate the people who are doing the negotiation for the peace deal. That's one of the reasons that they said if there's going to be any more negotiations, the Iranians said we're going to do it in Russia or China because we don't trust you not to kill the negotiators. That's how bad
Yeah.
it's become. Yeah.
Yep. So what we're saying is that this war is going to keep going. Israel will not retreat from Lebanon. I had dinner with Dennis Kucinich and his wife 2 weeks ago, and he was of course congressman from Ohio and ran for president
Oh yeah.
as a peace candidate. He said he went to Beirut a number of times. He said what they're bombing over there are upper middle class cities.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
He said these are very beautiful places that they're killing all these people and bombing it to ruin.
Because they want the land. That's
They want
their
the land.
That's their project for doing this. I've seen this game before, Gerald. I remember in Tampa, we had some people that my dad grew up in Tampa, so he had some real estate. He wound up reselling it. Rented it for a while, then he resold it, and it had run down these various places by the time I was there. But they had a mayor, Sandy Friedman was her name. They used to call her Sandlot Friedman. What they would do is they would come in and they would condemn a property for specious things. Oh, you haven't mowed your lawn, so we're going to start hitting you with a massive fine per day. And the people couldn't afford it. Or I'm going to say that you got to repaint your house, and they couldn't afford to repaint their house or something. So they'd start hitting them with fines that were $100 a day or something like that. They would get several $1,000 fines, and they'd come in and condemn it, knock it down, and then turn it over to the big real estate guys, right? That's why they called her Sandlot Friedman. That's essentially what Israel is doing. It's a real estate game. You go in, you condemn the property and under some absurd basis, and then what you do is you knock it down and destroy it so that you can rebuild it better with your people. It's that same game over and over again. Just destroy everything. And
look what they did to Gaza.
Yeah.
I mean,
right.
you look at the pictures of what that place looked like before they did this.
That's right.
And no outrage.
Yeah.
No outrage.
But Trump is positioning himself to be one of the people that's going to build it back, and so he's going to have the luxury buildings that are going to be in there, and it's a great location for him, close to the sea or whatever, and so they're going to make a lot of money off of this. It's just ruthless. It's ruthless. Yeah. I played clips of some ultra Orthodox rabbis, and they say, this is the Torah is against what Israel is doing. They said because you're not supposed to steal and kill in order to do it. So it's really just basic morality, and it's basic grifting economics. It's the kind of thing that real estate people have always done at the local level. Now they're doing it internationally.
No, it's so sad. It's heartbreaking.
Yeah, it is.
I'll tell you, it's on a funnier note. You talked about Tampa. Remember Red Fox?
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
The great comedian. My brother, I was the youngest, he had I still have the records, 78 red records of Red Fox doing before he was even on television. And one of his lines, and I'm a little kid, I'm like 12 years old, I'll never forget this. Red Fox is brought to court. I don't know exactly how it went, but this is about basically it. He went to court because the woman that he was with was taking him to court because he didn't live up to what he was promised to give her, and she gave him a lot. So the judge says, that you promised to do, that she did certain things for you, that you were going to take her to Florida. And he said, Your Honor, he said, I never said I was going to take her to Florida. I said I was going to tamper with her.
Did he promise that he would Kissimmee her? Or
yeah, I was going to tamper with her. So when you mentioned Tampa, Florida, I remember that as a kid.
I just always think that Kissimmee was one of the funniest names that I ever heard. That was in Florida. And one of the stories we had was I had a cousin when he was very young. Parents said, we're going to go to Miami. He goes, I don't want to go to Urami. I want to go over here. So they have some unusual names down there. But yeah, Red Fox, the guy that was in Sanford and Sons, right?
Oh, yeah, he was great.
Had a long comedy career before that as well.
Oh, yeah. I have the 78 records, Red Fox 78. Going back to what's going on now, gold prices are going down. It was reported that Russia sold 22 tons of gold. Turkey has sold $20 billion worth of gold.
Mm-hmm.
Governments are going broke because of this war. They're going deep in debt. They need to sell out.
Mm-hmm.
And people forget, and again, we only put the details in your Trends Journal. The equity markets were going down before this Iran war began. The NASDAQ was in correction territory. It was down over 10% in March. Because of AI taking over software companies, these hedge funds, the people wanted their money out of private equity groups. They couldn't give it back to all of them. Stocks are going way, way down. The dot-com bust is going to happen. China's leading the world in it. And they're artificially propping up the equity markets. Going back to gold. Yes, gold prices are going down because, again, people are covering their losses. When they bet on gold, they're losing it in the markets. They're covering their losses with it.
Yeah.
And again,
they got good profits in gold, and like you point out, they bought stocks on margin or something like that. Or maybe you are a Middle Eastern country, and you're seeing your industry being blown up right now. Where are we going to be able to get money? So of course they're going to liquidate some gold. That's right.
This is what's going on. Mexico's selling it. A number of countries. We list them in the Trends Journal. This is temporary.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
The worse things get, the higher gold prices are going to go. That's the history of gold.
Yeah,
it's there for everybody to look at it. The facts are all there.
Yes.
You go back to before things happen, gold prices go down, then they skyrocket like they did 2008, on and on and on. And so they're going down now because they're bailing out. Mm-hmm. But it's the number one safe haven asset.
Yes.
And we are in the worst times of our lifetime, as I see it. And I've been at this for 46 years.
Well, you've got the American Central Bank has already started printing money again, right? Already started back with quantitative easing. So regardless of what happens with interest rates, and they may not do that because, people are watching that. So people aren't watching the quantitative easing and the printing of money. So it's very easy for them to do those types of things that are out of view. And those are very inflationary.
But you talk about interest rates. What's the interest rate now? What, about 3.5, 3.75, right? Mm-hmm. What was it when gold was spiking in the late 1970s? 10, 12%.
Yeah. I always think about our first house that we got a 13% fixed interest rate because we were young and stupid.
Yeah. Well, like my father used to say, youth is wasted on the young. And then he said, I'm talking about you, he said to me. Anyway. So what we're looking at with interest rates, they're still very low. And with this guy, Marsh Gorsh coming in, that's worth about $226 million. That's going to be the new Fed head. They're going to lower interest rates. Or they'll keep them at the same rate, which is still very low.
Yeah. Well, he's coming in. He's just going to be makeup on the pig. It's kind of interesting. His wife was part of the Estee Lauder makeup fortune. So this guy is the makeup on the pig, the lipstick on the pig of the Federal Reserve.
Oh, perfectly put. Perfectly put. So anyway, that's where we see it going. And we're very bearish on the markets. There's no relationship, again, only by the data. There's no relationship between Wall Street and Main Street. Mm-hmm. Again, according to the data, you go Google it up. Vanguard, State Street, and BlackRock own over 25% of the S&P 500. And when you look at the value of the stocks that they own in the S&P 500, it's 88% of the value.
Wow.
That's three companies.
That's right.
1% of Americans own 54% of the equity markets. You put the 10% in, it's 93%, which means 90% of the people have 70% of the markets that have nothing. Mm-hmm. So there's no relationship between Wall Street and Main Street.
And there's no relationship to reality either. When you look at the way the markets are moved by the latest pronouncement from this liar in the White House, it's like, what a bunch of sheep they are. It's whatever they want to believe, and they're running over here, then running over there. It's like squirrel, they all run over to the other side. It's amazing.
I know.
How can you have any confidence investing in a market that is that irrational and that volatile? It's insane. Absolutely insane. And even when you see gold moving as quickly as it is, it's like everything is getting so volatile. It's truly amazing because gold is there is kind of a stable thing, but that the price of gold is really reflecting the volatility of the American dollar.
Exactly. And the death of the dollar is on the doorstep. It's going to happen. And there was an article that came out in Fortune magazine about 3 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, that put the real debt level at about 143 trillion, not 38 trillion, when you put in Social Security and other government debt. And so, and then they got to pay the interest rates. The higher they are, the more you have to pay on the debt level. No, this is serious. The death of the dollar is going to happen. And again, this war has destroyed the global economy.
Yes, it's amazing. Isn't it amazing how, we always talk about, well, this guy's got his finger on the button. He could start a nuclear war and a Holocaust for the entire world. But this guy has done it to the economy. I mean, he started with an economic war with all these tariffs, and the way he was doing it was simply to attack other countries. And he even said that I can use my tariffs to destroy that country. And I will. If you say something I don't like, I'm going to raise your tariffs to 100%, just like that. And he started attacking Canada, of all places. I mean, it was absolutely insane. This guy was he's like a madman with a nuclear weapon. And his nuclear weapon is the economy, not just the nuclear bombs that he's got.
Again, you look at the lies that he says over and over again. Just some of the thing. This is March 2nd. The war starts on February 28th, right? Trump says war against Iran moving, quote, substantially ahead of schedule. 2 days after it started. You ready?
Yeah.
Keep going. This is
well, who are
March
we to say
3rd.
that it's not ahead of schedule? Because he never put a schedule out, right?
Oh, yes, he did. No, he did.
Oh, he
It was
did.
going to end in 4 and 5 weeks.
That's right. Yeah. Roughly, yeah.
Oh, here it is. Here's the quote. This is the quote on March 2nd. We projected 4 or 5 weeks. We'll do it.
Yeah. There you go.
And what'd you say? It's 2 months now, right?
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. This is March 3rd. The air defense, Air Force, Navy leadership is gone. They want to talk. I said, too late. That was March 2nd. Hey, you ready? There'll be no deal with Iran except, quote, unconditional surrender. That was March 6th. You ready? If Iran doesn't do anything that stops the flow of oil within the Strait of Hormuz, they will be hit by the United States of America 20 times harder than they've been hit so far. Oh, that was March 9th. Oh, the Straits of Hormuz are still closed, aren't they?
That's right. Yeah.
No, it's not right. That's not what the president said. How dare you say that? How dare you say that? The president said if Iran does anything to stop this flow of oil within the Strait of Hormuz, they will be hit by the United States 20 times harder than they've been hit so far. So how dare you say that? You're disrespectful to the president.
You bet I am.
I can't do this show with you anymore.
Well, Mark Levin is bragging about the fact that it was his idea for Trump to blockade the area after it had been closed down by Iran. And it's like, you can't fire me, I quit type of thing. It's ridiculous. And of course, even after they had Iran opened it up because they continued their blockade, Iran said, okay, that's it. We're going to shut it back down again. And everybody is looking at this, as I said, with one of these headlines, the whole world is watching just like we are. It's like, what do we do about this? How do we get this guy out of office? And everybody is asking that globally. What do we do to get this away from him? That's one of the things that is really going to accelerate the demise of the petrodollar. What can they do about this kind of stuff? Well, everybody has to look at this and say, well, the petrodollar has been the source of economic strength for the United States government. Yep. And that economic strength has allowed them to have this kind of power over us. We have to destroy America's economy. And I think there's going to be a concerted effort to do that. I read a ridiculous article from one person that, is this the death of the petrodollar? No, it actually is going to strengthen it. It's like, what are you talking about? Petrodollar died a couple of years ago when Saudi Arabia started buying or selling oil denominated in Chinese yuan. And we've talked about that. You and I have talked about it. I've talked about it with Tony Arterburn, how now China is the bigger customer. We're not really a big customer anymore. And so it is effectively destroyed, but the reputation of the United States as providing some kind of a Pax Americana and saying we're going to be a stabilizing force in the area, we're going to create an environment of peace and prosperity that people can freely trade with these products, that has been just turned into absolute mockery. Nobody can trust the United States as a force of stability. It's become a force of instability. So I think that is one of the, we talk about the different things that are going to be an economic hardship for those of us who live here in America. Part of it is certainly the demise of the petrodollar and this fiat currency that we've got, the debt that we have, and all the rest of the stuff. But we are building up this desire from other countries. We've got to get the United States under control. If they can put somebody like Donald Trump in office and keep him in there, this is a country that can't be allowed to have that kind of power.
You see, again, you're being disrespectful to Trump. Trump said on October 20th, 2024, I'm not going to start a war, I'm going to stop wars.
Yeah, that's right. And he obsessed
what
over
you're
the
also
Nobel Peace
forgetting
Prize.
that Trump said is that he's going to be, quote, the most anti-war president in history.
Mm-hmm.
So what you're saying, it's not, Trump said his New Year's resolution this year was peace on earth. So how could you keep saying this against Trump?
Somebody just sent me, Gerald, like a QAnon type of thing. And they were talking about how all of this, look at this, everything that Trump has done is just masterful, right? And it's all according to plan. He's checkmating these people and all the rest of it. They're still putting that kind of stuff out. I mean, it sounded just like Steve Pieczenik as they were kicking off this Stop the Steal nonsense back in 2020. I mean, they're still doing this and people are still falling for it. It truly is amazing. But, we can look at this and there's really not too many plays for us economically, right? I mean, gold is about it, right? What else? What else?
No, that's about it.
Yeah.
That's about it the way I see it. There's going to be a good buy of real estate at some point, not yet.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But so real estate keeps going up, but not for now. This is a global crisis. All the details are in your Trends Journal. And again, even the IMF, World Bank, one after another is coming out saying how bad it is.
Yeah.
And this is serious times. If we don't have peace on earth, it's going to be hell on earth.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, just look at, it's going to affect food. Everything's going to be affected by this. And even if they were to stop right now, it's going to take a very long time for them to get production back up.
You got it.
Let alone to unwind this kinked up supply chain that we've got there. So, yeah, it is. And yet, as the energy secretary that you mentioned earlier in the program, right, Trump lost it on this guy because the guy said, well, we're not going to see gas prices coming down until well into 2027 at the earliest. Trump said, no, it's not. It's going to come down right away as soon as we get out there. And it's like, man, he can move the markets because markets are very volatile and they're very jumpy and they are extremely optimistic, overly optimistic. But the reality is something that is completely different. The kind of stuff that you see at the pump is something that is totally different. Well, it was, we had a short period of time today because we had some technical issues, but it's always great talking to you, Gerald. Thank you so much for joining us. And again, trendsjournal.com. If you use the code NIGHT, you get it for just a couple of dollars a week. Truly amazing source of information, worth every penny, even as they're taking the pennies away from us. Thank you, Gerald. Have a good day. And thank you, audience. Thank you for joining us. The common man. They created Common Core to dumb down our children. They created Common Past to track and control us. Their Commons Project, to make sure the commoners own nothing, and the communist future. They see the common man as simple, unsophisticated, ordinary. But each of us has worth and dignity, created in the image of God. That is what we have in common. That is what they want to take away. Their most powerful weapons are isolation, deception, intimidation. They desire to know everything about us while they hide everything from us. It's time to turn that around and expose what they want to hide. Please share the information and links you'll find at davidknightshow.com. Thank you for listening. Thank you for sharing. If you can't support us financially, please keep us in your prayers. davidknightshow.com.